we will discuss about tissue culture and spore formation. Already you have learnt about the types of artificial vegetative propagations like cuttings, layerings and grafting. These are the traditional methods, but for commercial purpose, for producing of the more plants within a very short interval of time, these traditional methods are being replaced by a modern technology of artificial vegetative propagation involving tissue culture. This tissue culture is a modern technology of vegetative propagation. In this culture, in this process, a few cells or few tissues of the plants placed in a growth medium with plant hormones in it. After some days, this grows into new plants. Thousands of plants are grown in a very short interval of time. This type of tissue culture, small cells or small tissues from the plants are placed in a growth medium with plant hormones in it. These are grows into new plants. After some days, thousands of plants are grown in a very short interval of period. This is about tissue culture. And spore formation. Already you have learned the types of asexual reproductions like fission, budding, fragmentation, parthenogenesis and regeneration. So here the spore formation is also another type of asexual reproduction. This type of spore formation occurs in some fungi like Rhizopus and Mucor, and in some bacteria, and also in some non-flowering plants like fern plants and moss plants. Here generally we may observe the whitish thread-like structures and the blackish powdery-like substances on the rotten fruits, rotten vegetables or any food materials at our home. When you touch this, then these blackish substances, blackish powder-like substances are stick on to your fingers. So these are the spores which are produced in the Rhizopus. In Telugu this is called as buju. To examine this Rhizopus, this Rhizopus is also called as bread mold because mostly it is grown on breads. So this Rhizopus is also called as the bread mold. To examine the Rhizopus or to examine the bread mold under microscope, it is best to grow by our own in controlled conditions at your home. For this you use a soft bread which is preservative free or roti or any vegetable like potatoes or any fruits like oranges. And this Rhizopus, a good sample of Rhizopus requires 4 to 10 days for producing of the spores. So make sure to plan ahead for this project. In this, at first you take a bread slice, leave it in open air for about 1 hour, so it is exposed to contaminants. Then you place this bread in a plastic cover and sprinkle the water over to it for dampness. Then you seal the plastic bag. You place the plastic bag at a moist, warm and dark places at the corner of your kitchen. And you check out the plastic cover. You check out the bread slice which is in plastic cover with few days. And also you add some more water to it for if it is drying. And if you touch this bread in those days, you make sure to thoroughly wash your hands afterwards. So after some days, when the Rhizopus has grown like this, then you take a part of this bread with Rhizopus to your school in a matchbox. In your school laboratory, you prepare a slide in the presence of your teacher and observe the Rhizopus under microscope. For this project, for the observation of Rhizopus, the materials you required are one slide, one cover slip and the bread mold, water, blotting paper or tissue papers and the disposed gloves. and also microscope. So first you take one glass slide, then you put one drop of water at the center of the slide and you place this a little bit some part of the rhizopus on the water drop, then you put cover slip on the bread mold without any bubble formations, and also you blot with blotting paper at the corners of the water. Then you place this slide under the microscope, then you observe it. Under the microscope, the rhizopus seen like this. So this rhizopus here, in this rhizopus, in this bread mold, the fine thread like whitish structures are called as the hyphae, and the blackish thin round shaped knob like structures are called as sporangiums. So when these sporangiums are burst, then here the hundreds of spores are spread into air. These airborne spores, when land on the food material or when land on the soil in favorable conditions like moist, dark and warm situations, warm conditions, these are germinates and grown into new rhizopus. So this is about the spore formation in rhizopus, and the spore formation also seen in some fern plants. These are the non-flowering plants. In some fern plants and some moss plants, we observe the spore formation in these plants. In this type of plants, here the leaves are called as sporophylls, because on the lower surface of the leaves there are clusters of dot-like structures. These dot-like structures are called as sporangia. In the sporangia there are hundreds of spores. When we rupture the leaf, then we observe the spores. So like this we observe the spore formation in some non-flowering plants also. So this is about the tissue culture and spore formation. Thank you.